Hello, my name is Ilona, and in this video in my series Shadowwork, I want to talk about a little bit about timelines. I have explained it before. This is of course my point of view, but I have noticed in reactions under my videos that there are still people afraid that if a certain part doesn't wake up, then we're going to get stuck in a certain timeline. And ultimately, a lot of timelines, that's how I feel, are now kind of flowing together. And they're going to separate, obviously. And I'm sure you've noticed that certain people are just falling away in your life. You know, they're just falling to the side. You don't have a connection anymore. There's not this understanding anymore. And that is really a reflection of the fact that your energy is changing and your frequencies don't match anymore. The most important thing for the timeline that you will be in is your frequency. It's not the frequency of the people around you. And I just want to emphasize that because you don't have to be afraid you're going to be dragged in with other people if they don't wake up, because then apparently your fate will be dependent on other people. That's not the case. That's not how I view things. If you are in connection with yourself, really focused on your energy, then you will lead the life that you want to lead, because then everything will change around you and it won't affect you anymore as much as what's going on. I do want to mention, I've used this example before. It's like living in my street. There are a lot of people I've never met, and we're living in the same street. But, I could probably pass them by and have no idea those people are my neighbors. And they live a completely different life with different things. And maybe sometimes we will meet. There are some neighbors I will, of course, say hi to. But there are a lot of people I have no idea what their lives are about. Maybe they have a similar life to me, maybe not. That's how I view things. So you're still living in the same street, but you have completely different experiences. In a way, you are living in a different timeline. That may sound very strange, but if you really think about it, some people you will never meet in your life. Even a couple of streets away here, there are a lot of people I have no idea who they are, what they're doing, what their lives are. I will never meet them. That's the interesting part. It's all about your frequency. So I understand the fear. I understand the frustration that people are thinking, oh, we have to wake up everyone, because that, of course, this is about. The things that are happening now are used to give people the opportunity to wake up. At least that's how I view things. And it's more like we're working towards something, and then I think things will fall differently. Like the timelines will separate then. We'll have to see how it goes, but I do believe that if you are in a higher frequency, and higher is not like better or that you're better than other people, that's not what I'm talking about. It just means that you have a higher frequency. You will be capable, have the power to visit people on a lower frequency if you want to. So it's not like you completely lose everyone. Maybe there are some loved ones or people in your family that are completely in a different frequency. That will be up to you, in what frequency you are. Maybe there are other people that are in a higher frequency. They may be able to visit you. It's all about the frequencies. So it's about the frequency that you're on that will determine what timeline you'll be in and what life you will live. So if you are afraid, and it's fully understandable, in lifetimes we've had before, we were hunted down. We were, our life was taken away from us. Horrible things have happened because we were speaking out. We were talking about maybe consciousness. And Atlantis happened, Egypt, many things before that, galactic wars. Many of us have already been in there as a soul. We've lived lives in that way. We've also lived lives on the other side. So it's also possible that one of the problems to really step into your power is that you're afraid on a certain level that you may turn the other way again. So it's also possible that that's why you suppress your powers. Like, oh, I might go the wrong way if I gain all these powers, because that has happened in a past lifetime. It can happen on a very unconscious or subconscious level that you've made a decision. That's why this time is so important to heal, to look at yourself. And it's very understandable, like I've mentioned before, that you're afraid of groups of people, because in the past that didn't end up very well for you. So now you still feel like, oh, they can, force me to do things. Maybe they'll force me to get stings. Maybe what am I going to do? How am I going to, protect my children or my family? So all these fears, I'm sorry about that. All these fears can come up. And these fears of being, powerless, not being in your power. And this goes back so deep and so far, and so many lifetimes have been connected to that. So this goes very deep. So it can be very terrifying when things are coming out, or when you see that people in your family don't respect you or push you out of the family because you have different ideas. That is then triggered. And now it's the time now to heal that. So if you feel like that, if you feel you're really waiting for people to wake up and you're frustrated or angry or fearful that's not going to happen, these are all things that you can heal now, that you can work through now. Feel them, feel through them, see where it hurts in your body, where you feel that pain or fear or anger or frustration, and really work through that, because it's time to heal that now. Because you're not dependent on anyone for your spiritual growth, for your timeline that you want to be on, for the life that you want to create. It is not dependent on anyone outside of yourself or anything outside of yourself. Everything is inside of you. And if you feel that you are, protected, and you are, we are all children of God. We're all part of God, of the Creator, of the Source. And that's also a big trauma when we were separated. And it wasn't a real separation, but the consciousness God wanted, in a way, experience Him itself. I'm not sure. That's kind of, but the consciousness God wanted to experience themselves. I'll just take themselves, itself, himself, herself. Doesn't really matter, but we were separated at that point to, individually collect experiences and bring that back to the source. And that felt like a big trauma, because we were, part of a consciousness, and suddenly we were not. That felt like a deep, deep trauma. But we didn't realize that we're still part of the consciousness. We were never separated, and we need to realize that now. That's also the great awakening, to understand that we are part of God. We are part of Source. And this is, if we fully understand that, then there's nothing that can happen outside of ourselves that could hurt us in any way. And I already mentioned, if something could happen, or something is, happening, in my life, if things really would, turn out to be the worst of the worst, I don't think so, but if it happened, I will choose to live this earth plane. That's my choice. Of course, not by myself. I won't do anything, but if I be forced to get the sting or get something else, then I will choose something else. Anything, whatever that may be. But like I said, if the things really would get worse, I will accept the consequences. I refuse to comply in any way. I don't think that's going to happen. I truly don't. But I'm prepared to take the consequences for protecting my energy, protecting my body, and protecting who I am. And whatever will happen, will happen. I will accept that. But that's really the position you want to be in. But that's not how I feel about things. I see things as we are really working towards something new. This great awakening is happening inside ourselves. And it's so important to deal with your energy now and to work through these old traumas from past lifetimes, future lifetimes. Ultimately, there is no, there is no time. So it's very important, if you feel something, you read something and you get terrified, you're afraid they're going to throw out something again, or you're going to be stuck in your house, anything that would trigger feeling of unsafety, anger and frustration with other people that are just not waking up. These are all beautiful opportunities to heal what's inside of yourself, heal these pains. Like I said, we've also been on other sides as well. So we need to deal with that as well. We can have guilt over that. It's all experiences, and we need to all embrace it so we can really truly be in balance and really start being the spiritual beings that we are. And then we are protected. We are completely protected, and we're not dependent on anyone outside of ourselves to follow our own way and to create the life that we truly want, this new beautiful world. Because that's the beauty. We were never separated, and that's why we are all connected. So by changing, focusing on yourself, you are focusing on the collective. You are actually changing things in the collective. By focusing on your own, own energy, changing, start actively taking steps that feel right to you. If you intuitively feel like you want to do certain things, do them. Follow that guideline, follow that guidance. You will meet like-minded people when you truly listen to what's happening inside of yourself. And then, of course, it will have an enormous effect by shining, by being bright, by being yourself, by daring to be yourself and daring to step into your power. That will be massive for the collective of humanity and the collective of just the consciousness, because then you'll bring that back and it's just beautiful and other people can be inspired. So I just wanted to mention that it's so important to focus on yourself, focus on your own energy. That's what you need to work with, really. That's the change that you want to be, be the change you want to see in the world. By really working with yourself, you don't have to be afraid anymore. You don't have to be afraid of anything outside of yourself. And that's so important to understand. We are all children of God. We are all part of the consciousness of God, of the Creator. And we really need to start remembering that and connecting with that. We are still connected. We've always been connected. We were never separated, even though we felt it like it was at that time. And we've had things in past lifetimes or future lifetimes, whatever you want to call them, or parallel lifetimes that have happened to us. It was all part of our soul's contract to learn things, to deal with things. And most of the time we just didn't understand it at that moment, what it really meant. And there was a lot of confusion, a lot of course, the dark energies that confused us. But it's very important now to see who we truly are and to connect again. That is the Great Awakening. It is the awakening to our own spiritual being and to understanding that we are part of the consciousness. We are part of God. And by realizing that, truly realizing that, grounding that here where we are, we're going to be a massive force in changing our lives, and we will see that change. Because what we see around us is a reflection of what's going on inside of ourselves. So if we change what's inside of ourselves, we're going to see that around us. And that's the beauty. That's the beauty of the Great Awakening. I'd like to leave it at this, and I hope to see you in another video. Bye.